joining us for our webinar entitled The Future of Competitive Bowling. Today we have with us some wonderful guests. I'll get to them in a moment. I do want to take a moment to ask you a couple things. We're doing a little bit different format this time. Oh, Natasha is going to, yeah, I'm all screwed up now. We're doing a little bit different format. So what we've done is we've allowed everyone to have their cameras on. I really think there's value in watching people's facial expressions when we have a conversation. And certainly you're welcome to be a part of the conversation. I'd encourage you to use the chat function. It'll open up and we'll all be able to read your comments. I can thread your questions through to the moderators in the panel as we go along. But if you'd like to ask your question personally, you certainly can raise your finger or let us know that you'd like to speak. And when the time comes, we can turn your mic off or back on and let you ask your question live. All right, with that being said, I'd like to introduce my co-host today. She is the training manager for Cubica AMF. Among other things that she does for us is coordinate things like virtual learning and distance learning and online learning, all kinds of learning. She's like the master of that. But she's also the master of actually executing a webinar, which is why she's here, because I'm not so good at doing the back end stuff. So, but she's got a mind of a business person, a trainer, and less of a bowler per se, but she's definitely been in the industry for a long time. Miss Natasha Kipper, thanks for being with us, Natasha.
Thank you so much.
You're not really a miss, but you know, I was being polite, I'd say.
Good enough.
Our panelists, yes, welcome. Our panelists today are two very esteemed gentlemen. The first, owning currently Plano Super Bowl, Cowtown Bowling Palace, and JB's Allen Bowl. Past owner of many, many successful places that are iconic throughout the southern United States. He's with us today to talk with us, Jamie Brooks. Thank you for joining us, Jamie.
Thank you.
And our other panelist today is a world superstar. He's got a bunch of PBA titles because I don't have my notes open, so I really feel terrible about that. He's bowled on every continent except for Antarctica, I'm sure. And he's now taken his talents and put them on the side burner, and he has focused his efforts on his business background, and he is the business development leader for Triple Shift Entertainment, Mr. Mike Fagan. Thank you for joining us, Mike.
My pleasure, Jay. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure to have you. It's all of our pleasure to have you. You know, today I wanted to open up our conversation with the future of competitive bowling, and I think I kind of need to define that a little bit to start, because I think when you hear competitive play, you might automatically gravitate towards something like the PBA or PWBA, or maybe even like a scratch tournament. But in reality, in the business world, when it comes to the business of bowling at least, competitive play is really defined as any kind of coordinated activity where there's competition. So your league play is competitive play, whether it be handicap or scratch. And the same is true for different unique events like tournaments or sweepers. Maybe you have a fun event that you have non-traditional scoring or non-traditional games. But that would all be considered competitive play. And when you talk about competitive bowlers, I think that, you know, the competitive gene lies in every person at different levels, right? So if you're a competitor and you're not a good bowler, that doesn't mean you're not a competitive bowler. It just means you may be searching for a different type of competition, right? Not everybody's going to want to bowl a 12-game marathon on a sport pattern and, you know, have the high total pins win. Some people like a little switch up where it's less games and a little more fun, a little more luck, a little less skill. That's still a competitive player. And we're talking about all kinds of competitive play today. So with things like, I'm going to do my opening thoughts here. You know, I just jotted down a few bullet points. USBC canceled all their events for 2020. PWBA tour has been canceled for 2020. You've got large conferences and gatherings and events around the country that are either going virtual or they're canceling. You've got local participation at bowling centers that is being solely dependent on things that are city by city, county by county, state by state. We have much of our friends in the Northeast that aren't open yet, and Washington, and even California. There's so many states that have restrictions that are different from city to city, from state to state. So these are all things that impact play in a bowling center. And then how does all this impact the future of our competitive bowling? Will we ever return to pre-COVID levels of competitors and events? And that's kind of what I want to start to ask the group here. What do you think about that? So the first thing I want to talk about is the different types of bowling centers, you've got traditional models that are mostly league play. Yes, you do open play. Yes, you do birthday parties. But the meat of your money comes from league and organized play, right? That's your bread and butter. And then you have FECs and VECs and other high-end models that are more geared towards casual play or events or corporate and group. So the question I have for Mike is, because Mike, Jamie's 3 centers currently are more of a traditional model. Mike has multiple centers that some are traditional and some are all the way FEC full-blown entertainment models. Mike, I'm asking you, have you seen any shift in the customer base that's driving the revenue in your centers, and or are your traditional centers trending higher percentage than your entertainment venues?
Absolutely, Jay. Absolutely. Yeah. Our FECs have seen a larger decline. They certainly are, a lot bigger buildings, a lot more overhead. So, I mean, in this type of environment, they are a tougher business model to sustain, where our smaller centers, our more traditional based bowling centers are really only down a fraction, in comparison to the FECs. So yes, our competitive bowler, our sticky client, if you will, who is hooked on the sport, who loves it, who is thriving to get back in the bowling center after months of laying off, is driving our revenue right now and keeping our business afloat. And I mean, that is one thing that we love about the bowling industry, is that, economic downturns, economic upturns, you're going to have that sustainable business model, that repeat business of a competitive bowler. So, I mean, converting people into competitive bowlers is in the best interest of all of us. And especially when you get into situations like we are in now, where the retail or the open play customer is just, it's a little harder to get them back in the building.
Yeah, they need to feel comfortable to come back in. Tasha, you have kids, you have young kids, and you have a unique, I'm not a unique, I'm saying I think you are probably middle of the road. You're probably the average consumer when it comes to children and families. And what's your opinion about, feeling comfortable enough to go back into a facility?
We're definitely not rushing out. While it's challenging to keep the kids occupied, to come up with enough activities to burn calories and energy, we're definitely not rushing out to any kind of entertainment facility to find that kind of entertainment. In fact, we're canceling a couple of the birthday parties that we planned on showing up to at the end of this month, thinking back when I RSVP'd a couple months ago, oh, it will be done by now.
Yeah.
But it's still not a comfort level from that aspect. Now, my husband will go golf. We'll go to a local bowling center, no problem, just the 2 of us, because we're familiar with that environment. We know what they have taken into consideration when it comes to employee safety and customer safety. But your traditional FEC environments, like what Mike was referring to, we're definitely not rushing out to go to places like that. And I know a lot of people that I speak to, my friends that also have kids, they're feeling the same way.
Jamie, are you feeling the same way? Do you have that kind of, how's your birthday party business? Is that kind of on hold for a while too? And, I know you're doing well with your traditional customers.
No birthday parties.
Yeah, that's not a shock, is it?
It's amazing to watch it. We're doing a fairly good business in all of them, and we're having our league bowlers come in all day long, and they're bowling. And you look down there. I watched it for maybe the first 2 weeks that we got back open, and there was maybe one mother and a kid a day in a 48-lane place. Now we're doing pretty good with our ladies bowl free, which we have on Thursday night. That's not doing bad, but that's millennials. We're getting
right.
up. But it's been amazing. The thing, we prepared for this to get open, and we called all of our league bowlers while we were closed at least 2 or 3 times. So when we started back, we gave that first day in the daytime free to them to come practice, and it was amazing how many we had. And we started out just like 87% of where we were. And when they started putting the mask on, that turned it around. I mean, we went down probably another 15%. And
wow.
We're having a monster problem with people wearing the mask. I mean,
you bring up a good point there. And, you know, raise a show of hands by the participants that I can see. Do you have a mask order in your city or your state where you must wear a mask to participate?
Oh, no.
So we have 3 people in the middle of my row that say no, and everybody else says yes. Interesting, huh? So the ones that say yes, are you the mask police, or are you tasking your league officers with that? League officers, raise your hand. Bowling center people, raise your hand. Yeah. So that's an interesting twist. So what I've heard, and Jamie, I think you actually brought this up on one of our calls, did you not? I think, I don't remember if it was you. I apologize if it wasn't you. But one of the people I was chatting with that said to me, what we've done is we've went to our league officers and we've said to them, look, we don't want to be the mask police. Can you have your sergeant of arms really stress to their league that this is an important thing that we must do? Oh, I think it was you, Steve Kevlish, that said that to me. Yes, it was. It was Steve, see? Asking the league officers to have ownership in that mask policy, I think takes a lot of stress off the employees if you have the right league officers to do that with. And, you know, if you have to develop a relationship with them, so be it. But, you know, I assume many of you will have that relationship with at least one of the league officers. So that may be something for you to consider moving forward.
Can I jump in there for a second?
No, Kathy, no, you never, of course you can, my dear. How are you doing? Kathy, Dora, and Lizzie, ladies and gentlemen.
Doing great. How's everybody? So the only thing that I can say is, as a proprietor, be very aware of what the rules are in your state. In my state of Ohio, we are mandated to wear a mask everywhere we go, but we are making it perfectly clear to our bowlers. We just set up a Facebook page today for all of my officers, secretaries, and all of my league bowlers to let them know, yes, you have to wear a mask when you enter and exit, and when you get up from your table to go anywhere in the center, restroom. But when you are seated at your table and you are actively participating bowling, you do not have to wear the mask. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. I had a call last night from one of my secretaries, and he said, I don't think the league's going to come back because some of the people don't want to wear a mask. They don't have to wear the mask while you're participating. I think that needs to get out there for bowling because we get lost in the shuffle. You know, bowling's always that little obituary in the newspaper, and all the other sports get all of the other accolades. But if all the other sports are able to do it, and as they're participating, not wear their mask, bowling should be the same.
I agree with that, Kathy. Unfortunately, the laws and the rules are very different from state to state, right?
Very different.
For here in Texas, we have a mask order statewide,
right,
but it's different county to county whether that mask
right,
has to be on, whether it's on when you're on the approach or not. I had to bowl a tournament with a mask on for 8 games. Could never take it off. That's
right,
that's a different animal. But you're right. What is the rule? And the hard part is what I've seen happen sometimes is people telling you what the rule is that don't know what the rule is. And they're misinforming some customers, either to the good side or to the bad side. It doesn't matter. So, you know, do yourself a favor and make sure you're absolutely sure what that is. And then pass that good information on and figure out the best way that you can implement that for your facility. You don't want to isolate people. You don't want them to feel like, I don't want you as a customer. And you also don't want them to feel like this is your rule, but this isn't my rule. This is the state rule. And if you want to bowl, which I know you do, we need to all follow it.
But it's great you said that because I want my customers, first and foremost, I'm a business owner. I'm there to make money, but I want my customers to know when they enter my facility, they are comfortable and they are safe. That is what I want them to know. Not only that, but we're all proprietors. You can't put your liquor license on the line as well. So you have to make sure whatever your rules are in your area, because my family, as you all know, is in Texas, and I know the struggles you're all having down there, and I love all of you, and my heart breaks for what you're going through. But you have to find out what your rules are in your area and make sure you're following those, because at any time, if someone comes in and they feel compromised or uncomfortable, that's where that face blows. You don't want to get in any trouble. You have to protect yourself as much as you do your customer.
Absolutely. Good point, Kathy. And thanks for sharing that with us. I have another question I want to ask. So what are your leagues planning to do? Those of you that have started leagues. Jamie, can you tell us how many summer league bowlers you floored?
In Plano, we had 1150 last summer. We got 1040 now.
1,040 summer league bowlers in one center. Who wants that? Yeah, exactly, right? Tell us a little bit about why you believe you have those kinds of numbers, because you do something that is really quite unique, Jamie. I think it hasn't happened since the 80s and 90s. We used to kind of do that sort of thing back then, but I'll let you explain how you contact your bowlers and you reach out to them.
Well, what we do, we spend an inordinate amount of time ever since we've owned all of my bowling. We talk to our bowlers. We make them part of our family. We get to know them. We know what to talk to each one of them about, and we get them to help us. And it's like this mass thing. I've got this one league on Wednesday night in Fort Worth that there were 8 guys that have been wearing. So I've sent the manager in, and I haven't heard this. This is Wednesday. Okay, he's going in tonight and ask them to help us, because we don't want to have to close, and we want everybody to wear their mask. And if you want to continue to bowl and want to keep us open, help us keep it open. But as far as the amount of league bowlers, we've got good locations, and we take care of those bowlers. And I think that's one of the reasons that they all came back. But the thing is the struggle is to have social distancing. We move the tables around more than 10 feet apart in all places. And we used trio leagues this summer. We had a few 4s, and we've got a lot of 5s at Plano. And we sat down and figured out from 5 to 4 is $175,000 a year we're going to lose. So what we did is we told them they were going to start off with 4. We could do social distancing with 4, very difficult with 5. We're going to bowl till Christmas. We're going to pay off, and we're going to start again, hopefully after the first of the year, with 5s. I sure would hate to lose that, because over the years, if you ever let them go from 5 to 4, you never get it back.
Never get them back, no, right. So that's an interesting point, Jamie. And Mike, let me ask you this. Have you altered any of your formats in the traditional centers? Have you allowed them to go down to 3 players or 4 players? Or is that something you're considering? And let me ask you this, have you changed the length of time? Because I have seen that become more and more popular. As a matter of fact, Conroe's got a 4-week doubles league. And I thought, well, I can commit to driving an hour for 4 weeks. I might sign up for that one, but I'd like to hear what you're doing in your facilities for that.
Yeah, well, when we came back, we were a little bit taken off guard, because we were supposed to be in phase 4. We were going to be pushed out to the middle of July. We thought the summer leagues were going to be a total wash. And then overnight things changed, and the governor said, it's now the middle of June and you guys can open. So we put together a plan really, really quickly, and we were lucky to save a lot of summer leagues. We truncated the formats to maybe 8 or 6 weeks, depending on the length of time that we had to wrangle everybody back in. But for the most part, we did what we could to salvage it. Going forward into the winter, we're looking at different options. Obviously, we're in a position where we have a lot of lane beds and, maybe some excess capacity in other locations. Like our FEC, for example, doesn't have a lot of leagues, maybe 3 or 4 leagues that go off on each night, but we can take some of the leagues from the busier centers, the traditional centers, and, just say, hey, would you guys mind going? I think ultimately we're going to allow people to come back whenever. If they don't feel comfortable coming back in the fall, we'll say that, your league is here for you in the winter time, when hopefully things, make it better in the in all of society. So, it's about flexibility, and hopefully people can keep that flexibility up.
I agree. And that's nice that you are able to be flexible and you have those extra resources available to you. I do want to mention a couple comments that we've had in the chat here. Doris says, our league bowlers don't like the fast pace of the 3-person teams, so we remain at 4 and 5. And that's fine, Doris. You have to do what's right for your business. Absolutely, you should do that. So, and this just proves that there's no one size fits all. That we know that, right? That's absolutely true. you're going to have to make decisions that for your particular business that might be counterintuitive to someone else watching right now, because their business could not operate that way or it wouldn't make sense for them. But that doesn't matter. You need to do what's right for you to survive, or to strive to succeed, actually, not just survive. So I wonder how these changes that we're allowing to happen now, will they have a positive effect on competitive play down the road? Do you think we might actually generate more interest in league play if it's no longer 36 weeks of commitment and it's only maybe 12 at a time? Because this is something that we've always said, well, just start short season leagues. People will come bowl those. But they didn't want to bowl necessarily with all those newer bowlers. They would rather have a short 12-week league with the people they already knew. So this is a chance to kind of try that out if you're taking that mentality where you say, we're going to go for till this date and we're going to reevaluate, pay it off, and start again. So I'm curious, does anybody else have kind of a mindset? And if you do, comment in the box. No one so far. Okay.
What we're going to, I hate to talk again, but we have one league we have two leagues that fill my 24-lane center. We obviously, and they're 5-man team. We obviously can't do that. So what we might do is, it's going to be a shorter season for both leagues, but we may alternate. The one league bowls on one Thursday, and the following Thursday, the other league will bowl. Because I agree with Jamie, when you lose them, it's like pulling teeth to get them back.
Yeah, that's
one bowler per team, but God help us if we lose teams. So whatever we have to do to accommodate them, and that's why we work with our customers like Jamie does. We know everybody by first name. They've been coming to the center for 25 years or longer. We want everyone to have input on the changes we make as well to make them comfortable.
beautiful. And, you know, we've got some feedback. Steve says we're doing much like Jamie is, paying out in December and then restarting. And then Mick Hackbarth is letting us know, we are like Mr. Brooks, encouraging leagues to utilize a split season to better accommodate teams that may want to join later. And Christine says we have lots of older league bowlers who want to postpone when they start the season, maybe starting in October. That's not a bad idea, Christine, because if it's comfortable for them and you're going to get more of them to come back, you can afford a couple more weeks of lost revenue in return for a larger chunk of revenue down the road, I think. Well, I mean, maybe you can. I don't know. That might not work for everybody. Here's me. I'm telling you what you can afford. You can also afford to send me a brand new car, FYI.
But TJ, this shows not just each center is going to be unique, but also each league is going to be as well. Because your senior league is not going to be the same as your fun league. So what Jamie's been doing here, and it sounds like a lot of you guys are doing the same thing, talking to your leagues, knowing your bowlers, what their preference is, and then just keeping that open communication and transparency with them to find the best solution for your center, for their league, and for each of one of those bowlers individually. I think it may just as well carry you through this crisis until things get better and you can figure out how to go back to what everybody is generally more comfortable with.
Very good. I want to move on to another topic, if we don't have any more comments on this one, because when I talked with Jeff Riggles yesterday on our little chat, which was 45 minutes long, I brought up the subject of youth bowling. And if you weren't tuned in or you didn't get a chance to watch that yet, we had some pretty spirited dialogue about it. And I'm curious how you guys envision the future of youth bowling. I'm going to start with you, Jamie. What do you think the future is for youth bowling on a competitive basis? How do you think that's going to look?
What I see happening, we have maybe the largest youth program in the country. We send 50 kids to the junior gold. They save up money all year long, and we help the parents. They drive to it, and we think the junior gold is great. We think that might be the savior of the kid thing. But the problem is, and this is a problem from ever since I've ever been in this business, it always bowled on Saturdays. And it was a babysitting thing for years. And now that we have this junior gold thing, we've got a junior gold league within it. And we've got 46 lanes we can use every Saturday morning, which we fill that up with. And the sad thing is there must be 25 centers in our association, and we got 80% of the kids. And it's, you can still build it because we bought this 24-lane house up the street, and our manager there, we're building it, and we're up to about 40 kids from nothing. And at Fort Worth, I've got about 80 kids, and I'm over 300, I think, at Plano in the fall. So that business is out there, but you got to really work hard to build it.
And you're still taking a traditional approach. This is very much similar to the way we've done it for years, where you have that Saturday morning or any particular day program. You've got the leaders in there coaching, and you're building this demographic to grow up to be a competitive player. Mike, do you feel the same way? Is that still the same way in your neck of the woods, or is it varied across your centers?
It is, and you know, we took over this business about 18 months ago, and you know, we're still working on figuring out what the solution is. Obviously, to reiterate what Jamie was saying, we're still based on mainly a Saturday morning model. But a lot of parents are telling us that their kids are doing other things on Saturday morning. They have other activities they want to do. So, you know, looking at other days of the week, afternoons, after school, that we can get kids in and, you know, maybe not get them all in at the same time, but, you know, making sure that they have availability on the lanes. I think the other thing that we need to guest and how we can supplement kids with equipment, just to maybe get them started and get them, you know, hooked on the game like we all have been, and understand how fun it can be. You know, one of the leagues I went to, I was coaching at recently, I had a kid who was using a house ball, and which is fine. Actually, excuse me, he wasn't using a house ball. He was using his dad's ball, and he was 10 years old, and his dad was 6'6" and 300 pounds. Okay, he couldn't even reach the holes. So obviously he's not having a great experience by doing that. And, you know, I spoke to the parents, and I got the kid to use a house ball for that day, just to make sure he was having a better experience. The parents said, well, we didn't want to commit the money to a new ball and shoes if he wasn't going to like it. And I basically said, you're not going to like it if you can't actually put your hand in the ball and fit. So, you know, getting these kids equipment, making sure that they have time on the lanes when they're available. And I mean, obviously coaching is another thing. So, I mean, getting the parents involved in different activities. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, they may not ever have bowled before, but if they can get into a bronze class or something really easy to grasp, maybe they can become that coach of the team. So, you know, we're trying to implement USA Bowling as another great program to get the kids implemented and have designated practice sessions, making sure they have lane time before and after league to really work on their skill set and not just try to work on things during league, which is counterproductive. So there's so many things we can do better in the youth market. And I mean, I think we have to think about it more along the lines, we're thinking about it more along the lines of, this is an investment. It's not necessarily something that we need to make a lot of money at, but at the same time, you'll be surprised that if these programs do build up, how much food and beverage and other revenue that you'll derive from them, not just to mention what's called like a lifetime value of a customer that you're thinking about. This person is 10 years old and we may have them as a customer for the next 40 years.
Correct. That's a very good point, Mike. You touched on some areas that are interesting, the equipment, technology being part of that equation. You know, obviously a house ball we know is meant for a certain type of player. And if you're going to teach children how to bowl at a competitive level, you may start out with a house ball, but it certainly can't be their end all be all, because they'll either not be competitive or they'll lose interest quickly, because nobody's going to, if they strike with the house ball and start beating people, then you just leave it with them and get them on tour because they must have some magical talent by then. But Jeff and I were talking about this, and I brought up the point where first of all, let me ask this. Anybody listening has no junior program anymore, that it's completely just non-existent? So everybody has some form of juniors. What I've seen in so many bowling centers is the junior programs are just missing, right? They got like, 20 kids and it's, 10 teams of 2 on a weird day. I said, I don't think that that hurts the youth competitors down the road, because if you look at the number of traditional programs that are out there now, Jamie, God bless you for doing what you do, because that's not happening as a standard across the country. You know that. If you look at the downturn of that kind of model, it's not there. But yet youth competition is at an all-time high level youth competition, junior gold, teen masters, storm youth championships. I mean, I can go on and on with the tournaments, right? They're all full, they're all sold out. These kids learn, they want to bowl. How are they getting bit by the bowling bug? Well, I have to assume it's by technology. They're watching the PBA tour, they're watching the ladies on TV, they're watching collegiate bowling, they're on YouTube. They're interested in bowling because they went to a birthday party or someone's party and they saw someone hook the ball and they said, oh, I want to do that. So, you know, if you're 9, you don't even ask your parents, you just go learn how to do it online. You're the one fixing the dishwasher and setting up the Wi-Fi for the house anyway, so you might as well learn how to bowl the way you want to bowl. And, you know, the knowledge is out there for them. You can pick up coaching at a drop of a dime. I mean, Mike, you're available on video to anybody who has for the right price. Shannon, Brad Angelo. I mean, the list of people there are just long also. So you've got an exposure to coaching at a very high level that we never had back in the day. And you've got kids that are just trained to learn on their own and learn differently. I think that's a bonus. Now let's factor in what the PBA is doing, the PBA youth program. I saw that and my eyes went really big because I thought, it's about time. I think that's the right move, personally. I think there is an entity that can drive the funnel for future competitors that we didn't have before, because PBA was so separate from, you know, youth bowling for so long. There should be a level that encourages the kids to get involved in. So what do you guys think about that? Anybody have any comments on that?
Jay, if I can add one thing, Mike mentioned earlier, you know, we're competing with all the other sports and activities that the children are participating in. But is that the case today, really? Because I hear on a daily basis, of course, every region is going to be different, but I hear on a daily basis all these group sports being canceled for all sorts of age groups. So today, do we have a unique opportunity to find a way to reach that demographic and find bowling appealing enough for them to even start doing it? Right. And then consider, you know, that becoming more. For a long time, we've used this as, you know, not an excuse, because it was a valid thing, you know, baseball and football and all these other sports are, you know, in some way, even in some regions anyway, more popular than bowling. But today, these kids may not be able to participate in those organized sports. Is this the time to start reaching out to them again and trying to recruit them to participate in bowling? I'm going to say it might be a unique opportunity that we might not see again for a long time. And, you know, just trying to find something positive that we can perhaps benefit from.
I agree, Tasha. I think you won't know until you try. And if you don't try, you don't know what you're missing. Maybe there's something there for you, especially in certain marketplaces. I want to say a couple comments. Steve said that they're currently building their high school bowling into youth leagues to allow sport patterns as well. And I think that's a great way to, you know, bring the kids along on the competitive road to show them that there's multiple levels of competition there. Has anyone able to reach out to schools to see if they would utilize bowling centers as phys ed program during school hours? Mark, that's a really good question. Dottie and I have been talking about that on Beyond the Frame and the off camera about how you should be looking for programs for homeschooled children in your area and letting them know that you're a resource for them. There's homeschool bowling programs available from BPAA that are amazing. And if you go to the National Homeschooling website, I think it gives you tips and tricks or contacts in your area, maybe who to talk to. Say, hey, you know, who's in charge of homeschooling for Southeast Ohio? I don't know, I'm making up a place. And you may be able to get to someone who says, yes, we have lots of people that use bowling now. Let me add you to the list of vendors or to available sites, whatever it may be. But you should investigate that. I think you're leaving money on the table if you don't.
Yes, personally. And just so you know, the homeschooling, you know, part is not the same what e-learning or, you know, virtual learning is going to be for regular school system going forward. So those are two different areas that you probably should consider looking into.
And Christine, you said your schools have canceled all PE activity for the semester, which
Yeah.
means you lose your high school teams and junior bowlers. But does that mean you can't then turn around and run that on your own, not certified or sanctioned, so to speak, from the school? Do you have that ability? Your mic's off, sorry. I caught you off guard.
Only on the weekends.
Only on the weekend.
You can't do it during the school day. That's the challenge.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I wish you luck with getting some of that, recouping some of that that business back then. And then Ted Wells says, for Mark, our areas cut school bowling lineage from budgets many moons ago, even if phys ed has been canned from budgets in many schools. Yes, that's true. That's always the budget is always going to be an issue. So how can you tackle that? What can you offer that group of people that will be attractive to them to continue? I want to move on. Does anybody have any more talk about technology and youth bowling? No? Okay.
Well, Jay, I will say one other thing. I was involved with a company that unfortunately is not around anymore. It's called Rolltech. It was called Rolltech. And I mean, there is a possibility that we're going to see, and Lane Talk is another one. I mean, there's opportunity here for us to think about virtual competitive environments as well. I mean, where you can compete with people. You may be bowling alone in your home center, but you're able to at least connect with people, compete with people. So, I mean, I think that there's going to be probably a higher trend towards that. It may not be essentially sanctioned, or it may not be a way for you to make any money. But the point of the fact of the matter is, you still get some of those competitive juices flowing. You still want to see your name at the top of that leaderboard, even if you're in a virtual environment. And
that's what the gaming mentality is all about anyway. It doesn't have to be necessarily for money for all of our competitors. Remember, they compete for different reasons, and we're all guilty of that. I won't show you the stupid apps I have on my phone that I have to play every day just so I keep my level up, But I think I'm much like many other people. I'm a gaming mentality person. I want to compete and win. It doesn't matter if I won 3 jelly beans or $1,000. I won that. That's what the important thing is. I prefer the 1,000, but sometimes we have to settle for jelly beans. What about the shift in demographic of your league bowlers? Have we seen that at your centers, Jamie? Is it the same people bowling league, or are you getting influx of newer people, or are you finding any returning bowlers coming back because now you've bought the center, especially JBs, they know who you are and they remember how you've treated them in the past?
Well, the way we've grown it basically is it's onesies and twosies. You just don't get a whole bunch all at once, but it's putting money back into your center, investing money, making it nicer. Like at JB's, we put new lanes in, new air conditioning, new ceiling, new floor, and the business has maybe doubled since we've been there like 4 years now at the end of this year. So it's a slow process to build it. And there's one thing before we get off this thing. Everybody that tuned in, I'm going to give you something. It's the last good thing that I got, and I copied somebody else from this. On Tuesday night at Plano, we have Ladies Bowl free. It's starting from 9 o'clock, and we're open 24 hours till the Ladies Bowl free. We charge them $4 for their shoes if they don't have any. We charge them like $14 if they bring men. And when the colleges are out and things are happening normally, we'll do $1,300 with that on that Tuesday night. And then we will do in the worst time of the year like $600, and we're doing about $600 or $700 now with that Ladies Bowl free. So I just would like you to think about that. And it was easy to build, and it's still going, and it's been going for 7 years.
Beautiful. Sorry, guys, I got cut off like Natasha warned me earlier. Is everybody back? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I missed part of your comment, Jamie, because I did get booted off. So I'm assuming you answered the question, and I want to give Mike a chance to answer also.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll recap a little bit, and I'll reiterate what Jamie was saying. And I mean, I think he hit the nail on the head when it comes to reinvesting in your business. People there's something to be said about the aesthetics of something when you walk in the door and you see a fantastic looking facility. It just makes you want to be a part of that. And it may not be essentially that somebody will pinpoint what is deteriorating about your location, but at the same time, over time, they may say that, this is not what I want to do anymore because of X, Y, and Z reasons. But coming into a new, nice facility definitely gives people that reboot that I want to come back in here and look how nice this place looks. So right now, obviously, this is a really difficult time to think about spending money. But at the same time, money has never been cheaper than it is right now. So, I mean, if you do have the ability and, we're trying to keep a long-term vision for this. I know it's hard right now, but I mean, if you do have the access to capital and there is, banks are going to be willing to lend right now at very, very cheap rates. And it might be an opportunity. I know a few centers in our area did some renovations during the closure and they're looking, to try to gain a competitive edge. They had to be closed anyway, so they might as well try to make the place look better.
I like that. I like it a lot. Doesn't have to cost a lot of money either. I'm a master on a shoestring budget. I used to manage centers for the old AMS Corporation back in the day, when they owned all the bowling centers before Bolero came into play. And it was often like fighting teeth trying to get dollars in a budget to put new carpet in or whatnot. So, you can make big statements with paint and sponges and steel wool, and you can do so much with so little to make the bowlers wow when they come through the door. And if you take a different approach to your mindset, when you have people that haven't been in your building in a while come walk through, some of your friends, have them walk through and just with a list, tell me what you see. Tell me what you see. Be brutally honest with me. That goes a long way. Because I'll tell you what, we get nose blind to smell and vision blind to things that aren't so nice because we see it every day. So
Jay,
I encourage.
Jay, I got something to add to that.
Yeah, good.
And this is a cubicle AMF deal, right? In 1995, I bought a bowling center in Corpus, and I was one of the first customers of Cubica when Pat was just starting, and we put that in. I can't remember what it cost, but it was a lot, and we didn't have a lot of business. My business went up 25%.
Wow.
When I put that in, almost immediately, it was unbelievable. About 2014 in Fort Worth, I bought it in 2010, and we had the old AMF ball system, and it was $340,000. I'll never forget what the price was to go to bowl at Best X, and we put the Best X in, and that year I went up that same amount of money in my total gross sales. That
Or pay for itself.
So things like that, it's amazing. Mike hit it on the head by saying every time I spend money, I make more money. It's amazing.
And it's counterintuitive. You wouldn't think that would be the case in some ways, and it's hard for some small operators. They don't have the resources. They don't have the lending or the buying power that some of the bigger corporations do. But that's not an excuse not to do it. That's just a reason for you to go, well, what can I do with what I have? So instead of saying I can't, say what can I do? And that's like free counseling today. There's no charge for that. That's my gift to you guys for joining us. Don't take no for an answer.
And Jay, just final on that topic. I mean, I think when you present a nicer presentation, I think it makes it easier to pass some of that along to your customer as well. If you are presenting the same old presentation and you raise prices, people will say, why are you raising prices? But if they see that you're reinvesting in the business, I would think that they're more willing to take and absorb that price increase if you need to make one.
Very true. Very true. Natasha, did you have anything to add for this?
No, I was just asking Mike to take notes on what Jamie said about SX.
Oh, thank you. I got to open the chat up again because it shut down on me here. Okay, so we had I've fallen behind in the chat, so I apologize, and all the previous ones are erased because I got kicked out. I'll move on here. I'm looking at my notes here. What does the future look like to you guys from a from a tournament perspective? Is that a big thing right now for all y'all? Is that like filling the building on the weekends right now? You're both shaking their head. I know here in Southern Texas, and Steve will do all the traditional centers that I do get to bowl at. You know, the Armadillos, the Mel's. You know, they're all around the state. Every single weekend is minimally one tournament here, two tournaments there, and they're all sold out. They're all full. So that's telling me that this level of bowling, at least here, is strong. Yes, we are able to open. That's a bonus. But for those of you in the other states, are you stirring the pot with that? Are you taking a slow Wednesday night and are you saying, well, you know what? Let's run a sweeper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be a handicap 3-game sweeper, you know, and you just make them use their highest average. It could be, if you're using Best X Ultimate, maybe you take some of those unique games like Odd Duck or even better. You know, the Hall of Fame extravaganza that happened in Las Vegas for many years now. John Lucido and Pat Cinello ran this, and they chose games from the Best X system that were not developed yet. They've since been developed into true games, but they thought about what a competitive bowler would like, and they really did such a good job with this, because if you go to that event, they play one game of Headhunter, one game of Even Better, and one game of Odd Duck. Like, that's a little session for them. And if those are all one ball throw per turn, so it goes rather quickly. But I'll tell you, you've got professional Hall of Fame bowlers there trying to get 9 like their life depends on it, because that's the only way to get points is to get an odd number. And you can bet your bottom dollar every time it gets 8 or a strike. I mean, I think I shot 257 with a 6-pound house ball, not trying to strike. And I was so angry because I kept stroking. But it's so fun to play. So for anybody who is the least bit competitive, once you expose them to these other formats, it's a lot of fun. You know, you're going to have your traditional guys probably scoff at it at first until they take part in it, but you can really have a good time with it, and you may open up a new audience. So I encourage you to think about doing something like that in your facilities. Does anybody currently run any kind of sweepers during the week? Jamie's saying yes, they do. Mike, you do also? Yeah. Anybody raise your hand? You're doing it at home right now? Nobody else. Okay, well, there's something to put on your think about list.
Hey,
9 to no taps on
question.
cent. Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Those centers that you bowl in your tournaments, were they always this busy with tournament bowling, or is this now busier than they've been before prior to this pandemic?
They are for sure busier with the tournaments. Yeah.
They're wanting to bowl.
That's people, the thing is, they're the ones that are hosting that event, and everybody that wants to bowl can't go anywhere else but to their place to bowl that tournament, so they're all coming. So they're drawing people from a farther distance than they may have used to. And all the maybe people are now definitely people, because they're realizing, like, they feel this sense of, I don't want to miss out. I don't know when we're going to get shut down again. We might not get to bowl for a while.
But look how smart they are to take advantage of that. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. We have a unique opportunity where now you can capture those customers that prior to this had other options. They weren't cooped up in a house and wanting to get out, and there wasn't any kind of pressure. I may go bowl this tournament, I may not, who cares, right? Now it feels like the demand might have changed in certain aspect when it comes to some of these things. So I feel like it is all of our responsibility to capture that, to identify what that unique opportunity may be and how to capitalize on that. Same thing with leagues. I feel like, you know, maybe in the recent years we have stopped heavily pursuing leagues. We're just trying to preserve what we have had for so many years and hoping we don't lose any more. But instead we focused on the entertainment part of our business and attracting that type of customer, where today we know league bowlers are coming back, tournament bowlers are coming back. What is it that you can do to bring more of them back, and even more often? Some of you have shared great ideas, you know, have Jay, I think you mentioned 4-week league or even shorter format. You know, Jamie shared some of his ideas too. And then what other environments or events or can we create to attract more of them? Maybe I'm a league bowler. Personally, I haven't bowled in the last 5 years, but now my entertainment options are limited. And if a couple of my friends are going, I'm probably signing up too, because that one night out may do me a little bit
It's
of
really valuable now.
But you see what I'm saying? Today, there's not that many things that, you know, I'm going out and doing all these things, and my social life is just, I mean, packed. I don't have time for league bowling. Now I truly do, but, you know, I haven't been on a league in 5+ years. So how do we bring those people back? This may be a really unique opportunity for us to kind of kickstart our league bowling back, because these guys have proven to be, you know, a loyal customer to us that come back when nobody else is coming.
Agreed. I want to say, you know, Doris is saying they're doing 9-pin no taps on Saturday, September 5th. Only 14 signed up so far, but we expect to max out our 12-lane center. I bet you do, Doris. I bet you do. Good. Just keep pushing it. And when you do run it, make sure you make it special for those people. You probably run your share of no tap tournaments over the years. Find a new way to make it fun, whether it's a secret score that you have crazily drawn, you know, whether it's you offer some crazy prize to somebody who bowls a, you know, a gutter. I don't know. Think of a way to make it fun and unique, because they're not there just to compete. They're there to have an event. Remember that. They're getting out of the house and they want to have a fun time. Yes, the competition will happen no matter what. So do what you can to make it special for them. Mike Divis says they're running Wacky Wednesday tournament every Wednesday at noon, and they're also doing lunch. That's a great combo, Mike. I like that idea too. And Cheryl says in our county in California, we've been closed since March, and bowlers are crying out to bowl. They're driving to Nevada and Oregon just to bowl. That's unfortunate, Cheryl, and we hope that you get to be open soon, because, you know, it's unfortunate. That's all I can say.
Michigan
I feel bad.
In the same boat.
New York, Michigan. I mean, I have so many friends across the country that I can't do anything. I'm just here signing petitions and showing support online for them. You know, what else can I personally do? But they're taking the steps to get it done. So I wish them luck, and you luck also. Yeah. A low score prize. Yeah, but don't tell them before they start that there's a low score prize, Doris, because then you know you're going to have somebody trying to get that prize. You just surprise them at the end. That'll be fun. I'll tell you, if you want a fun way to do your mystery score, I'm going to give it away. I was going to patent it, but I'm not going to do it. I developed a way to do mystery score, because what I personally don't like is when somebody comes up to the counter and go, here's the mystery score, it's 112, I already drew it. You know, the mystery score needs to be fun. If you're going to have a mystery score, everybody needs to be involved. You get yourself 2 sets of beer pong cups. Yes, I said that right. 10 cups, 2 different colors, the same solo cups. You cut out the numbers 0 through 9 and you put them in the bottom of the cups face down on a little circle of cardboard. And then you tell everybody to mix those cups up at this end of the table and this end of the table, and you set them up in the pin formation. And you got 2 ping pong balls. And now you just call 2 people at random out of the audience. You tell them to come on up here. They're going to choose the mystery score. You give the first person you called the ball and you ask them, do you want the first digit or the second digit? I'll take the second digit. They bounce the ball until it goes into a cup. It has to bounce once, because we got some professionals out there that can hit that cup on a whim, right? So they have to bounce it, and it goes in a cup. When it does, you flip the cup over and you show them the digit must end in a 7, whatever number is there. So if your score ends in a 7, you're still alive. And the way we've always done our mystery scores, we just take the last 2 digits, and if you get 87, 187, or 287, you win. So this is, then the other person goes and does the same thing, and that's your mystery score. And I'll tell you what, every single person in the building is going to give you $1 to get in next time, because you know why? They realize it's not fixed, it's fair, and it's super fun. So if you will have the ability to do that format, you have my blessing, run with it.
They'll just hire you to go in and run it, because it sounds like a 2-hour process.
It's really easy. It's really easy. It's just make sure you got your cup set. The key is to let some random people mix them up so nobody knows where the numbers are. You don't even know, because it doesn't matter. So anyway, you know, keeping it fun, keeping it different is going to go a long way into satisfying these competitive players once you do get them in the business. So that's just one little idea that you can take and make it a little more special for them. Right now, I'd like to turn it over to our audience and ask if there are any questions that you may have for our panel here. Anybody that you can see. It could be Mike, it can be Jamie, it can be any of the people you see on the screen. If you want to raise your hand, if you want to put your camera on, you can do that, or you can type it in the box.
Jay, while everybody's thinking about that and submitting their questions, I have one that came in the other day for this webinar.
Okay.
It was interesting to read that PBA ratings are going up and up. How can centers use that data and anecdotal info to market their center to attract more league and open play bowlers.
Interesting. Mike, what would you tell that person?
Well, we
I'm
haven't
going to put you right on
done
the
it.
spot. Sorry.
I was
We haven't
just
done it,
about to
but
say
I think it'd be a fantastic opportunity to run some local ads. I mean, they're always looking for opportunity. If you go to your local news station, Fox, whatever the bowling is on that day, you may be able to run a commercial. And a lot of times, the production company and the company, the cable company, will actually help you budget it and maybe even help you produce it. So I think it's an opportunity to just remind people when they're watching the show that we have a bowling center nearby, and you know we're available if you want to come bowling this afternoon after the show.
I would, I love that idea. I think that's beautiful. I think it's affordable now to do, especially cable advertising. They'll work with you for pricing and get you to the spot you need to be with your budget. Oftentimes it does include production now. I would also consider looking at who has been making the TV shows and see who lives near your area, near enough that you can afford to have them come to the center for a guest appearance maybe. Or maybe that you offer them use of your facility on some weekday afternoon for them to put on a clinic in turn for them doing a little promo with you. You know, there's always ways to get those people active and meeting the fans. And I think that would be a key to driving them to come to your center and then saying, you know, you can bowl league here and et cetera, et cetera. So thanks for the question. We have something coming in here. Who is this? You can barter advertising, Dottie says that's true. Jody, thank you for the question. She says, in our county in Maryland, we can only use every other lane, no pairing. Is anybody else dealing with that? Yes, I'll tell you they are. And have your leagues gone to 2 shifts? Who's gone to 2 shifts? Anybody raise your hand if you had to go to 2 shifts? Jamie's talked about it. Mike's talked about it.
Yeah.
And Kathy, you too. So yeah, people have been going to 2 shifts. Jody, you're not unusual. And you're putting one team on a pair now, I'm assuming. She's going to answer me. You can turn your mic on if you're not shy. I can turn your mic on too, I suppose. Let me just see this.
Okay.
Oh, there we are.
There we are. Yes, we cannot pair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can't use the pair with just 5 people on it. You have to only use the 1 lane. So they're bowling all of their league on 1 lane.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Which is good that CDE has programmed that now.
Right.
Yeah,
we have 12 lanes
specific
ducks
rule?
and 16 tens.
Oh,
So
okay.
our full house leagues, we can only use 1 lane, you know, and then have the distance and go to the other lane.
Well, it's a challenge, but it's better that you're able to be open than not. At least there's the
Right.
silver lining. So Mike says we're doing a Facebook show with my manager and doing a Facebook push. Yes, that's a very good idea too. Social media advertising is extremely affordable and done the right way could even be free. Dottie has a little segment that she talks about free advertisement is worth $1 million, and she's right. So you're going to have to join us on a Beyond the Frame episode to hear about some of those ideas. Andrew says our bowlers will reject 2 shifts out of hand, or too early for those that get out of work or too late for those that work the next day. Yeah, that's always a concern, Andrew. Maybe I don't know what the answer to that could be. I've heard of people saying, well, we're going to do Monday and Tuesday night all both at 7 o'clock, and you either bowl on Monday this week or Tuesday this week, depending where you are on the schedule. So if you have that availability, you might consider that option.
Well, Jay, you could promote it as a roll into your office in your pajamas because you're only working virtually the next day anyway, league.
Yeah. Well, see, there's a new idea already. What if you offer internet access and you let them each one sit at their own table and they can bowl while they're working from home? So maybe there's a daytime ladies league now. I don't know. And the childcare, yeah, that's at your table only. We put the little net up around the kids can't get away. It's a 12-foot social distancing circle and you're all set. That could probably come across as probably not. That's like child abuse. We might have CPS called on us. I don't know.
PJ shift, Mark said. I like that too.
I do too. I guess we're at the end of our show today. If there's no more questions or comments, I do want to close with a couple of things. Tasha, you had mentioned that someone asked about the CDE software.
Yes.
Well, I'll just let everyone listening know that, help me out here. Why can't I think? Well, they're busy creating the next version, and their demo versions are in centers right now being tested, right? So they're not releasing, go ahead.
Yeah, 2021 version of BLS is going to come out here, you know, in the next few weeks. That is always does same time.
This time of year, yeah.
They're finalizing that version and, you know, working through all of the social distancing, you know, options that will be available. In the meantime, if you go to CD Software website and you go to their support page, they update, they post articles and upload PDF documents with some of those rules and what they are and how they're meant to work. So you can kind of get a head start on getting that information ahead of time. But if you purchase 2021, BLS 2021, the new version will be ready to be downloaded here before long.
Okay.
And that's the version that's going to have all of the new changes as far as social distancing. And as we covered in one of the previous webinars, there are several different options that you may take advantage of. Bowling in one lane,
like the single lane, yeah.
All these different different changes that may be applicable to you and your leagues.
Okay, thank you, Tasha, for that. I want to give you a couple of key takeaways from our conversations today. First of all, I think one of the key points we made was traditional customers are driving revenue. What are you doing to keep those customers happy and create more programs for that type of customer? Know what your mask/PPE policy is for your particular city, state, region, county, town, I don't know, all the things. Know exactly what yours is. Don't take it from anybody else. And then to further go along with that, enlist the help of your league bowlers, your league officers to help you enforce that among the league. It would take some of the stress and pressures off of your counter workers, and you know, have those tough conversations with those people. Here, find out how technology can benefit you. Don't shy away from technology. You may be frustrated by it at times, and you may think that it is not good for us, but it's not going anywhere. So how can you take whatever technology that is there and use it to your advantage? We've talked about some of the programs and some of the ideas that you can capture the use of that. And then keep moving forward no matter what. Keep cleaning, keep remodeling, keep painting, keep updating. Keep your center smelling nice. It's crazy, but you walk into some bowling centers and it may look nice, but it has a terrible odor in the entryway. And it's just in the entryway. But yeah, I'll remember that because I got to go in and out that door, right? So, I mean, you know, we have 5 senses, not just 1 or 2. Make sure you look at it from a complete different lens. Get your friends in there or someone you trust to walk it with you. And then, you know, you don't have to have $1 million. What can I address today? How can I make it better? That's the key. And then look at adding competitive elements to your mix. If you're not doing weekday sweepers, if you're not doing some type of unique format tournament, think about adding that in. So those are my takeaways today. You probably have more. We'll be happy to share them with everyone. If you want to put your comments on here, the comments and the video will be, oh wait, Tasha's got comments. Sorry, Tasha.
I have a comment for one more takeaway. If we have learned anything today from Jamie Brooks, let it be talk to your bowlers, get to know them, build the relationship with them. Once you do, they will come back to your center. That's been one of my biggest takeaways throughout this webinar planning that I have.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that, Jamie. A little conversation can go a long way. Developing those relationships are not always easy, but it doesn't always have to come from the top. It might be your key staff or managers that develop that relationship with them. And maybe that's who reaches out to them from time to time to say, hey, Gina, how you doing? Susan, what's up? Jim, I heard you had surgery. We're looking forward to seeing you come back in a couple of weeks. I hope you're doing well. Those kind of calls, I mean, think about you receiving that call from a business that you like to go to once in a while. You would probably fall over and go, wow, these people are awesome. I know how it makes me feel. So think about how it could benefit you and your business and your customer base. Any other questions, any other comments today?
Jay, you did a great job with this today.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. I really appreciate you being with us. I adore you. I think that your knowledge and your experience your ability to communicate that to us is very valuable, and I appreciate it. Mike, you as well. I love the fact that you have taken on this new role in your life, and it's not new to you now, but you know, to some people out, somebody else looking in, they see you in this role. I knew you were always fit for this role, so I'm happy that you're doing well with it. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. I really appreciate your time and input. Mick, we'll see you soon. Steve, we'll talk to you hopefully in a couple of weeks at a tournament. Kathy, I don't know when I'm going to see you, babe, but I'll give you a hug then. Mask or no mask?
And Jay, don't forget, if and when anybody needs us along the way, we're here.
Yep, J Nephew at cubicaamf.com, the letter J, last name Nephew, or you can email the virtual, what's the name?
Max Training Admin at cubicaamf.com. Max
Training Admin at Cubic AMF. Tasha answers that and she funnels it to whoever needs to get it. So don't be shy. Until next time, on behalf of Cubic AMF, Jay Nephew, Tasha Kipper, Jamie Brooks, Mike Fagan, and the rest of us, thank you again for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on our next webinar, which will be announced soon. It's about another month away. Okay? Have a great day, you guys. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.